My name is Thomas Wolf. I'm production manager front of house, monitor engineer. I'm currently on tour with Clairo on the Immunity tour, and we're at the lovely Metro in Chicago. I was using Waves products before I was in live sound, when I was doing some recording engineering and some music production, so it was kind of a natural move to use Waves in the live environment. I'm always into like what's the next thing. So once the LV1 came out, I was really excited. First and foremost, this has all the tools I need to mix any show, and I can take this wherever I go. And I have all the plugins I would use if I was using any other console. So to have all my tools with me all the time makes me able to have a consistent show and do my job a lot easier than relying on other people's gear. Well, all the hardware emulations, I can basically make this sound like an SSL if I want to. This thing sounds like a $100,000 console. A lot of artists now, their record is made with Waves. So when they want the live show to sound like the record, I can talk to the mix engineer, the producer, and use those exact same plugins to replicate the sound live. Just get some presets from them and then tweak it a little bit for what we're doing, you know, but it's awesome. It just bridges that gap, which is cool. My main plugin that I love that I can't live without is probably the F6, which is the new dynamic EQ. It's replaced all my EQs because it works fantastic as just a standard EQ, and then it has the 6 bands of multi-band dynamics. So you can do a lot with just that one plugin. Clairo is a special case. She is probably the softest singer I've ever mixed. So there has to be a lot of makeup gain. You get a lot of bleed from the room, the stage, feedback, all that stuff. So applying the right settings on the PSE, vocal gate, expander, it makes that manageable. I can get so much more gain before feedback. It's like a magic plugin. Most of my instruments, at the top of the chain, I like to run my NLS channel. Basically models 3 different classic consoles. I like the spike setting. The signal comes into that, it gets its color from the NLS, and then that'll go into an F6. And just my basic channels, I'll throw a Emo D5, which is the compressor gate de-esser combo, which is a really great plugin with those 3 features. I like Vitamin a lot, which is also one of those just kind of magic plugins. It can really bring to life guitars and snares and stuff like that. Smack Attack as well for drums. It beats up the source instead of like coloring it. So you can kind of get more out of it without making it sound different. I like to use Bass Rider on bass and low synths. On the vocal channel, I like to use the CLA 2A. Gives me a nice compression on vocals, sounds very natural. Waves Tune is great. I don't put it into a heavy setting, it's just kind of light. Oh, Sibilance, that works really well to get all the S's out of your singer. It can look ahead and kind of anticipate what's coming. And as soon as it sees that frequency spike, it'll take it out in a natural form, which is great because I could just use that for my de-essing and I don't have to add another multi-band EQ on it or whatever. I love Arvox for vocal, for compression. That also has a soft gate on it, which cleans up the vocal. For my left-right bus, I have the NLS bus, which is cool because you can, in the NLS channels, you can set a VCA for each channel. And then in the bus, it has a little mixer section. It's kind of like sending it into subgroups. Track, which is an incredible plugin. You can hook Smart up to this plugin, which helps a lot tuning the room. You can do measurements in here and it'll automatically set an EQ to make the system flat, which is really interesting. L2, which is my go-to for master bus, keeps everything glued together. And I've been both ways, like 8 plugins on every channel. But what I found best is if you have a good source, keeping it simple, and just lightly flavoring it. Well, in particular with Clairo, we do a huge range of venues. everywhere from like 800 cap clubs, kind of like the Metro. We've done a ton of festivals, We've done an arena support tour. Just the consistency of having this wherever I go, and it doesn't matter how big the show is or how small, I'm still gonna get the same show. I'm still gonna get the same sound out of this thing. And it's amazing, like rolling up in an arena tour and the guy's got, you know, huge full-size console, and I show up with like my 2 little cases and I can get the same sound as they do. But then I can take this into the back of the bus and remix the show whenever I want. This is the best investment in my sound career. Being able to own your own equipment is a game changer. You're gonna get a better mix, you're gonna get a happy client, and a happy client turns into more work. I love it, man.
Pull you closer.